Hey everyone, this is like such good timing for me because one of my last videos I did on Asmongold was literally like just last week or a couple of days ago, where in that video, okay, I'll admit the most recent one he did about like a trauma dump story from his childhood, his past, overcoming depression, all that stuff. That was a very interesting story. It was very bizarre because only someone like him could have like that kind of background. But I will admit, it was quite sad to the point that if you saw him disgusting, like I do, you will like sympathize with him a little bit more when you hear stuff about like how his mom, growing up with him, she was like on the verge of death, being like psychomanic, his dad abandoning him having like horrible dental health, all that stuff. It makes you feel like a little bit bad for him. You see him more as human a tiny bit. I know, those pictures of like his entire room, his home is so disgusting. It would be a miracle to him as like anything else. But that video, it was decent. It humanized him a tiny bit more. But unfortunately, this video today is not a very positive story I'll be talking about, because the most recent drama he was in is so bad. There's no way from like any perspective as a Twitch viewer, as a fan of him, there's no way that you can even defend him for the stuff he said that's just so bad. Only someone like him could come up with it. And what I'm talking about is this clip where he just fucking goes off the rails about Gaza and the whole Palestine and Israel thing. And in your mind, imagine the worst thing possibly you could say. And yeah, you're right. Like right there where you have your mind is exactly what happens on screen. Like the stuff he says, and I want to play a little bit of it because the stuff he says in here is so bizarre. Even if you have like a knowledge of him, it just makes you be like, what fueled this?
I consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people. They have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. They'd be doing the same thing. They're not able to kill as many people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons. But if they did, they'd be doing the same thing. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. Right,
there you go. It's a full 1 minute clip. And normally, with a clip this short, I'd be like, oh, there might be some missing context. But in this whole clip, yeah, he does everything where it doesn't feel necessary to like watch the whole story, like what happened before, because he made his opinion so clear. There's nothing else you can probably decipher from that. Right, I don't want to get political, but there's two things that bother me about this. Number one is the whole idea of like being Ben Shapiro. Hypothetically, if they had the same weapons, they'd be doing the same shit. Exactly like an eye for an eye. Who gives a shit? That's a very good reasoning. Like that's so good reasoning that you bring up a situation, that you're making up a situation in your head where it might happen, and that will like make your entire opinion. And second of all, the reason why I find him so annoying in clips like this is because he has like such an air of like a cocky like high school kid where like everything he says is so smart. Everyone in class just goes, everyone just goes quiet, like he's that much of a genius. And this clip you can really feel it with how like he enunciates every word. No, I don't care. I don't feel bad for them. Period. That's it. Like it's that powerful a statement. What I want to say now, I'm watching this video on Twitter, but I looked up the actual clip, which you can't. I'll show you later. When I looked up the actual clip, it had the caption "Asmon being Asmon," and I get where they're coming from, but at the same time, making like an opinion that's so bad and just like garbage like that one, and just being like, oh, that's Asmon, that's the way it normally is. It's like, that's so weird. But I don't get where they're coming from, because like if you have a background of him, you do realize like you will eventually realize that someone like him, I don't want to call him a monster, but if you watch enough clips, you're like, is he actually missing a part of his brain that makes him like feel empathy or act human? Because like this reminds me of last week when I was doing that video on him about like the trauma dump. I saw another clip where like someone was talking about like in his chat about like a dog that died or a dog that was killed brutally, and his reaction was being like, "Oh, you're all pussies. Who gives a shit about a dog dying?" And like he was so confident in that he felt like no empathy at all for the dog that died or the people that are crying over the dog, saying like, you know, it's just an animal. Who gives a shit?
It's like, am I really gonna like? Here's one way to look at it, right? Is like, am I gonna get mad at Fauci because he killed some dogs or because he ruined the global economy? Bro, people get their feelings hurt, right? Damn, like that's crazy. Why y'all how y'all get your feelings hurt over that shit? It's a fucking dog, man. Oh my god. This is so sad. Some people are so emotional over shit. It's just embarrassing.
And that clip alone, that's probably enough to like show a gauge of his empathy, like just by that. But at the same time, like I'm surprised like there wasn't a big enough backlash from it, because it just sounded so bad. But either way, if you watch that clip and you guys like understand it more, then you realize that clip, that opinion about like Gaza and Palestine, it's so bad, but for him, it makes perfect sense when you realize, you know, he just doesn't give a shit at all. Again, just like tying back to what I said before about like him being like a high school kid. Like every opinion he has is so concrete, you can't change his mind at all. And you would think it would end there, like, you know, like at the end of the stream, he stops the stream, he goes to his bed, his fucking rat bed, whatever, and his opinion never changes. But that clip like did the rounds online to point that Hassan actually saw on his live stream, and he was so pissed off by it. He brought him into a court to debate him about it, and I didn't watch the whole debate because it's like 3 hours long. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. But from the whole consensus I got by just skipping through, Hassan was like, you know, he was like yelling at him so much, he literally had no idea what to say, because that opinion was so like weak-spined and was just based off nothing, which of course makes sense. When you have an opinion based off just like being like hypothetical ideas and never proving anything, like any, you know, facts or history, and then of course, when someone interrogates you about that idea, it falls apart completely, and just it shows like, you know, how baseless it is. The only part I stuck around for was like the first few minutes where he's trying to like like when Hassan asked him like what he meant by his opinion, he's trying to like clarify that he meant like he's trying to like make a point about how people like the woke and trans like group agenda, they're being hypocritical by supporting a country they would otherwise never do. Even though if you watch the actual clip, he doesn't bring that up at all. It's very clearly being like antagonistic to a group of people. Well, as he said, an inferior culture. And the next part I want to talk about was like how Asman made an apology that was, I'll admit, it was very honest to himself. Like you can very clearly tell that he made it, but it's so like informal and basic. It feels insulting on one part. What do you say? Let me find actually. Well, his name is Zach. He looks like a Zach, like so much. Anyways, looking back on it, I was way too much of an asshole by the Palestine thing. My bad. Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things or have views I find regressive. You guys deserve more than me saying stupid shit like that. I will do better. This part is so my bad. I do wish more people just said my bad to like show, you know, like how much like they don't really stick to that apology at all. Because in my opinion, like I've always had this opinion, if people like make an apology where I have like some backlash, which he got a lot, like he got a shit ton, then that I find that more insulting, because that clearly shows that they don't regret their opinion, they regret like saying, they regret making their opinion public, because otherwise it's never made like an apology like being like looking at discussion and seeing both points and being like both views, and then being like, okay, after engaging on both sides, my opinion, my honest opinion has changed somewhat. It's always like with people like him being like, okay, this is so much shit I'm getting, I'll say I'm sorry, I changed my opinion. When in reality, if you never got the backlash, his opinion would still be the same, like I said, and he would just go back to bed and not change anything. But in speaking about the backlash, like as I said, you know, he got like an insane amount. Understandably so, because if you're a Twitch streamer, I don't get like how you don't understand like the whole community and what topics, if you talk about in a bad way, will get you banned. Because he talked about it, you know, the biggest thing right now is the Palestine-Israel thing, and he talked about it in the worst way possible, and he saw no issue with that. So of course, naturally, you know, people attacked him. And now, the most recent thing that came from it is that he got his main channel, not main channel, his like second channel, which he actually streams on daily, Zach Raw, he got that channel banned. I'm not sure for like how long, but either way, the deal that his channel, the main platform he has right now that he streams on daily, the fact that that got banned is actually insane to me. It's not surprising, but the idea like, you know, his opinion was that bad and like he treated it in the worst way possible, that's shocking to me. And I should mention as well, with his whole status, you know, of how big he is, like one of the biggest people on Twitch, the fact like, you know, he was that massive and that protected by his, you know, his whole size of his, you know, channel, the fact that he still got banned despite that just shows, you know, how big the backlash was, where people didn't care. Twitch, they were urging Twitch to just ban him. And I do think like getting him banned was a bit too much. Not because I agree with his opinion, hell yeah, Asmongold, but more so because like, you know, someone like him, he plays fucking video games for a living. Like, any political opinion he has, first of all, it should be kept to himself because, like, who gives a shit? But second of all, like, he's not really in any position of power to, like, say an opinion that might have, like, an actual effect in the country or in the whole world. So when he says something about, like, people being inferior or the culture being inferior, I'm like, you know, that makes so much sense for you, some guy that stays at home all day playing games and has, like, no actual, you know, view on any politics or any, like, outside country. If he was like some politician with like a huge following, like that one guy on TikTok with like a creepy smile, if that was like someone like him, then yeah, I would get it. But like, you know, not only he's spreading hate speech, but like he has such a big following that the stuff he says could actually be like a command to all his followings that they will actually do it for him because they believe like wholeheartedly in him. But people like Asmongold, I don't think like his fans, I think that I have a little faith in them to like not actually believe the stuff he says and just take it as a unhinged rant, which they clearly did, like I said before, with that clip being called Asmon being Asmond, clearly showing, you know, like they believe, even his own fans believe that, you know, he's a bit off the rails sometimes, and you know, whatever he says, like all the stuff he says, shouldn't be taken to heart all the time. And again, I really have to emphasize how crazy it is that like all the support and empathy he got from that trauma video is just completely gone by now because of that god-awful opinion just destroying his career. If he took like a softer stance by like, I don't know, like pointing out the hypocrisy in people like supporting Palestine, maybe like that would save his career a little bit better and not got his channel banned. But the fact that he took the worst opinion on the biggest degree possible, like the worst thing ever, did not really just like buries his career or like any chance of like having a positive opinion from the internet of him. And it's like, when you think about it, it's like really bad luck, like actually like snake eyes. I don't mean like, you know, like people like, oh my pants fell down the stream. Like, you know, he said an opinion that from his point of view seemed reasonable, but to everyone else it was so dog shit, nobody could side with him at all. Like, it was that bad.